about 5 after 4. Okay. I look like crap today, but y'all can deal with it. So I'm going to give everybody a minute to pop in here, but wanted to have a serious conversation about where our legal system's going to. Being a retired parole officer that worked in the legal system, in the judicial system, and worked in depth with sentence management and watched zillions of people strike plea deals, get plea deals thrown out, have to go to jury trial, get diversions, go back and have things expunged. Hey, Gypsy, let's literally talk about this as someone that has watched the judicial system intently because it was my career for so long. Let's talk about what we've seen in the last few months, okay? We've seen someone who has video recorded himself, and I'm not going to say names. Y'all know who I'm talking about, but y'all can put the pieces of the puzzle together, and if you're not smart enough to do that, well, you picked the wrong channel. just a warning. I may twang, but I got a brain, so deal with it. But in the last few months, we've watched somebody strike a plea deal that would never have been offered to the American public. Never. Judges would have kicked them, the prosecution, the defense, everybody out, probably had a few disbarred. It would never have happened for the normal American citizen. American citizens absolutely never get immunity for anything. Okay, we're talking about the judicial system and the crap because this was my life for, over a decade. So I'm just talking about the things I've seen. This is just me talking about things I've seen. I'm just, I like to talk through things. Let's talk through things. I watched Patera's Appalachian Homestead, and she's like, I'm just here trying not to cuss. No, honey, Patera, cuss and make you feel better. Sometimes words need to be used. Words such as judicial zealot come to mind when I watch what's going on right now. Words such as lying piece of trash. America right now is the suck egg dog of the world. Okay? The suck egg dog. Now, what is the suck egg dog? Well, if you live on a farm, you think you've got this good dog that is watching out for you, that is watching your perimeter, that is keeping the nasty things at bay, and that is a help to you. And in return, you're taking care of this animal. And then you realize that animal all this time has been taking the thing you need the most, which are your eggs, your most valuable commodity. America has turned into the world's most suck egg dog. Because America, who has said they've been policing everybody, has actually just been milking the tits off of every cow that every country has. Okay? And they ain't been nice, and they ain't been using bag bomb, and they ain't got a caressing hand. We just been milking everybody. And it's not the American people that's been milking everybody. It's the powerful. But the American people are going to have to deal with the blame and the repercussions because crap trickles downstream, okay? That's the way crap flows, downstream. And who's the bottom of the stream? Poor people like us. That's where we are. But never in my life would I have seen someone get such a plea deal that would have any kind of immunity for future charges wrapped in it. That is, for lack of better words, illegal. It is opposite from everything that our legal system stands for, which is if you break the law, you're held accountable. We don't give people immunity and say, oh, well, whatever you do from now on, we'll forgive you. Go be a little shit. No, we don't do that. We don't do that to regular people. We shouldn't do it to other people. Thank God for that good judge that said, I'm not going to sign this, put it back. But I guarantee that something else will be manufactured and fixed so that you know who gets out of this, okay? Because power swings a mighty stick. especially if you're in a city where nobody else has a stick to swing. So right now, America is taking away the American citizens' sticks to swing in their legal system, sticks to swing in their financial realm, sticks to swing in their employment realm, sticks to swing in their medical realm, sticks to swing in their religious realm. There was a couple that was denied adoption not too long ago because they were of a specific religious belief that is mainstream, but apparently not good enough anymore because it's not unique enough anymore. And we're seeing some really weird stuff occur that goes contrary to the things that our nation was founded upon and the laws were set upon and the base of this nation was built upon. And why are we seeing them change? I don't know. But at the same time I'm seeing all these changes, I can do a Google search and see my president's son naked doing nasty things to women that earn horrific livings doing illegal things. I can see him using illicit substances. I can even pull up court case notes and court transcripts of him admitting to disposing of a weapon that he illegally obtained and then disposing of it illegally. No repercussions. No repercussions. But for the equivalent of tearing a mattress tag off, we now have someone else being punished severely. And here's my biggest concern is that not only are they going after a political opponent, they're going after that political opponent's legal counsel. Legal counsel in America is protected, should be. It's supposed to be. If they know enough of what was said between him and his attorneys and that client privilege, client and attorney privilege, it's supposed to be there, then what did they do to get that much knowledge? And is that not in itself possibly illegal as well? We're running into a place to where no matter what you do, you're going to be found guilty because they have changed the momentum of the vocabulary, the vernacular, the speech. They have changed the momentum of the way we talk so they can change the momentum of the law. Y'all heard me say this 50,000 times. You change the vocabulary, the vernacular, so you can change the law, so you can change the culture. Here we are. Now we're watching it play out. I think it's crap. I think it's crap. I think if someone did something illegal, you should have enough standing to be able to file an indictment that reads factually as an indictment should, rather than as a who's who amongst my enemies. That's very scary to me. It's very scary to me that this is getting to be such a personal thing in a land where we're supposed to have such personal freedoms. It also terrifies me that we're saving everyone in a country that's not connected to us and has no profit motive for us, really. But Maui burnt to the ground. It had no water in the fire hydrants. The alarming system failed. There were so many things that did not go right. And then the government swoops in and says, oh, we'll buy the land. Are we having a trail of tears out of Maui? What's going on? And what is Maui? Is Maui a negotiation chip? Look where it's positioned. Is that the thought pattern possibly behind that? I do know that the people of Maui are like, heck no, the government's not buying this property. We will all come together and we will make the money and we will buy this land back. No. Isn't it odd that we've not had the potato in chief? I'm sorry, I'm not going to be polite to this man because, listen, I had to see the butt crack of his son because I Googled wondering if it was true, and I now know what this man looks like naked, and it's not pleasant, okay? But if I have to Google this information to try to understand what's going on in my land, and I have to look at the butt crack of my president's son, oh, he's not my president, but the potato and chief's son, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Because, sir, I know what your son looks like, naked, high, intoxicated, and while performing acts that should be done behind closed doors with no video cameras. I've seen him weigh out crack cocaine, but I've not seen him punished for any of these infractions. I am concerned as a citizen. I am concerned as a citizen who is watching one person get absolute, gloved hands with our judicial system, and someone else who just said, I think there was something going on fishy here. I want it looked at. I was this vote short. We know that there were double counting of certain ballots because there was this infraction. You need to double count everything. I have a question about everything because I just needed this many votes. And if you're double counting that many votes, then I know that I probably could get this many votes. You could probably find this many. You need to go back and look over everything. So he didn't ask for votes to just be miraculously put into him. He asked for everything to be going over again because he knew something was probably not right. Having the opinion that something could be possibly fraudulent or not right, or something was done mistakenly and it just needed to be corrected and done again, that makes you like target number one of a country, of a nation? Really? And then when you talk to your lawyers and say, I think something happened here, how can I go about getting something done about this? That makes your lawyers guilty of something as well. I thought having an opinion, a point of view and a perspective, and having the ability to talk about it was something this nation was known for. Because if we start going after people by motive or by the idea or the concept of what we think they're capable of, you're going to turn everyone into a monster, and you're going to put everyone in court, and everyone's going to be fighting their own fictitious dragons, and our court will be a laughing stock. We have to punish by actual actions. We have to have factual evidence that shows something illegal did occur. We can't just say, oh, he thought something fraudulent happened, so therefore he was trying to push with his words someone to take this action. You don't know that. I remember him asking for it all to be reviewed, all, not just one side of the votes, all of the votes. And there were so many things weird that did happen in that state, from water breakages to people supposed to be leaving, the people staying and counting, to double scans of certain things that they did prove. That should be enough for our nation to have said, well, back her up. We got to start from scratch and do this all over again. We got to make sure we get this right, because our taxpayers deserve to know, the end all be all, whoever it is, we deserve to know the truth. I don't think that we've gotten the truth in this nation in many, 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 many years. And I've said it many times. From the time I was young, I've been fingerprinted federally and state for jobs. Every state or federal job, government job I've had has been the most atrocious, nasty, vindictive, butt-sucking, backstabbing places I've ever worked, because it's all about power. It's not about the power you have to change people's lives and do your job well. It's about the power you have for upward momentum and who you have to step on to have that upward momentum. And has that simply became our nation? So that simply became our nation. You either have to be weird enough to create some kind of they're picking on me mode, or you have to be honest enough to have them terrified that you're going to really put out there what may be going on, or you have to be crooked enough to where they want to hide it so the rest of the world doesn't see our flaws. News break, the rest of the world sees our flaws and they're laughing at them. And as much as we think we're manipulating others and having our laundry washed, All we're doing is showing people how absolutely consumed with evil this nation has become. That's all we're doing. I don't care who's in the right or wrong here, because we have created a circus out of our nation. We've created a circus. A circus. So what? All those years ago, when there was hints of all these issues in Ukraine that have now shown up to be issues, and the president said, well, they're telling me that we have issues, we need them looked into. And then all of a sudden, this man became a presidential opponent. And how dare you look into him? He's an opponent. But now, fast forward, and that side is saying, oh, but we have every right to indict him, go after him, arrest him. Okay, listen, I just want consistency. Okay, I'm like an 89-year-old woman with bad bowels that has to have Miralax every day. I just need consistency in life. Just consistency. And I see none of it from our leaders. I see none of it from our politicians. The president he finally made a speech about Maui that he had to read off a prompter. But he couldn't be bothered on vacation to take 5 minutes to say my heart goes out to these families. Gypsy honey, you're fine. You focus on driving and you go to church. That's that's the best place for you to be. You go on. You're fine. But I really want us to start looking at how motivation changes people and augments integrity. Have you ever had motivation that was from a black spot in your heart as opposed to a white spot in your heart? Have you ever had motivation that you knew was more negative than positive? How did it present in your life? What did it create for you? How did you overcome that, or what did you suffer because of it? Sav, honey, we're all praying for you. You having another bad day? Bless your heart, sweetie. I'm not moving the fastest today. This weather roller coaster is not. I'm not happy, and I've been doing a lot of internal meditating and dialogue today to think about how I'm feeling and to try to put myself in a better place. But it's hard to feel good when you watch the news and you're seeing your nation crumble. You're seeing the foundation of everything crumble. You're seeing Orwell's 1984 come to fruition, and you're thinking, how could we ever have become this? Yeah, today's not. You can see I'm puffy today from this rain and stuff, this weather front that's gone through. I'm puffy today. I'm still with the fluid off. I'm doing better than normal, but I'm still puffy today, and it's not been the best day. I didn't even put on makeup today, and I was like, screw it. I got to go out tomorrow. I'll try to look like a human tomorrow. But we're not learning lessons in this nation anymore. You know, people used to get a lot of their lessons from the Bible, and we used to look at the Bible as a book of integral lessons where everyone learned their lessons from the stories and they applied it to their life. Well, now we've cast the Bible aside. So what book are we looking at? Well, most people are looking at Marxist, communistic, Maoist views and thinking that is the way to this utopia that they think they're going to create. Okay, if you create a utopia, the human heart and mind will ruin it in 2 weeks. Because the human heart and mind can never be completely happy. Because if you're stagnant, which is what a utopia creates, a stagnant perfection society, if you're stagnant, then the human heart and mind starts to do this, and it will create issues. That's why movement and creativity and interest and positive associations are so important to people. It helps you grow and move forward instead of regressing. We have a very big part of the population of our nation that has regressed because they do not expect more of themselves, because they have no stories about growth or self-exploration or self-policing. They do not assess themselves and hold themselves accountable. And they think that it's a free-for-all because they see our politicians having a free-for-all, and they think that this is actually true life. This is not true life. The people in Washington, D.C. they do not live a real life. They do not. They live in a very pageantry modeled world, and it's supposed to keep us quiet and complacent. And sadly, the knowledge that we've gained over the last several years about just how corrupt some of our nation is, instead of prompting people to be better, it's actually shut down those people that they don't have that forward momentum. And it's just told them, well, if they can act like that, I can be 10 times worse. If they get away with it, I can get away with it. So we have no one wanting to grow as a human being anymore, no one wanting to look self-expression, self-accountability. They don't want to understand how their body works. They don't want to understand how their mind works. They don't want to understand how society and the implications of having a positive society can help us grow in positive ways as opposed to negative ways. They don't want to look at the medical changes that have been done in the last few years, and how possibly all that went on the last few years was just to make an M, 3 other letters, a household name, so that they could start gene editing. Gene editing has been on the books for a long time. A long time. Do you know that now they are 3D printing steaks? What value does a 3D printed food have? If everything we want we could create from thin air, how do we learn and maintain keeping care of ourselves and the earth around us? If we're not stewards of this earth, what are we stewards of? We certainly aren't stewards of ourselves anymore. We've all gone to hell in a handbasket, a velvet lined one with ruffled edges. Hi, Deb. And it's just like, where is the motivation? And if you're calling, like, well, my motivation is to save the world, climate change, people are a cancer. Okay, if you're of a mindset that your people, yourself, your neighbors need to be eradicated to save the world, then you're already at such a psychopathic level that you're already a danger to others around you because you don't see worth in human life. It's all about a balance. It's all about a balance. It's all about saying, I want to be a good human. I want to learn positive things. I understand I'll go through negative things, but through the negative things, I also must learn the positive things. It's all about this balance, and using this balance to create a balance within mind and body, and to express that balance within society, and have society keep going with that wave of balance so that we have a very balanced society. And our society is no longer balanced because the squeaky wheels have gotten the grease, and they've run with the grease gun and created quite the mess. So how do we now make sure that everyone is getting the same personal maintenance that the squeaky wheels are getting? How do we pull society back into a cohesive unit instead of these tribalistic sections, factions that we have now? That's the problem. That's the problem. You know, and then we have a lot of people that are just too scared to actually look at things that have happened in the past that our government is capable of and that other governments are capable of. And they don't want to read more information because it would scare them to know what our government has actually been up to. You need to know. You should want to know. You should have questions. You should want to know why they put up 17 new cell towers in your area, but your cell signal is getting no better. But when you start researching sickness, the sickness in the area is like 10 times worse. You need to understand that your body is 80% water, and it works with an electric current, and that makes you a walking antenna and battery. How can that be used? Because a lot of people have found ways to use it, and we are not free-range humans anymore. We want to be, but we are very much tagged and beneficial for many more things than just part of society and paying our taxes. You look at the Internet of Bodies, the W-band, the Wide Body Area Network, look at the IEEE. You start understanding how they've basically broken down your DNA system and your body into a computer program, and they're learning how to genetically edit. Yes, this has been going on for decades. They are now doing bath soaks to plant cells, that because the plant cells can absorb structure from other cells. So they're taking certain things from other, like meats and stuff, and doing a soak with the plant cells. So the plant cells soak up the meats. Well, a lot of the meats have the antibiotics and a lot of in them. And then after they soak those plants for 24 hours, that cell structure absorbs that and grows that structure which it absorbs. So it grows, instead of like a plant, it grows as a plant, but also with the hints of that meat and everything that was encoded into that meat cell. It adopts it and grows it. Our scientists are so far ahead of us, and yet they tell us that they're not. And then we start reading, we start looking into these problems, and we realize, like the Havana syndrome. Oh, we don't have those weapons. And then they had to verbally say, oh, yeah, we do. And it was probably used against some of our own government officials when they visited that place a couple years ago. A lot of people had, holy crap. I met somebody the other day that was like, well, people think they're spraying something in the air. No, they have been for years. They've been trying to cut down on, they've been cloud seeding for years. And they have machines across the United States that create clouds to create rain. You can go on the internet and look those up and actually see how they work, and have reporters that go and interview the people that work there. But they also, everybody's talking about all these beautiful sunsets and how the world has changed, and the sunlight's changed, and the clouds have changed, and the nights in the cities and stuff are more purple. If you get out in the country, it's not as purple, but that purple is, they say, from lithium that has been sprayed. And if you go and you start reading documents, yes, there have been trials where lithium has been sprayed into the atmosphere. Go read congressional hearings. Go read peer-reviewed journals on the ecosystems and how they're being augmented. Go read about genetic editing and about how they're going beyond plants and animals and extending into possible human areas. Go read these things. Out of your comfort zone. It might be very comfortable to go, oh, I don't know about that. I've never heard about that. That's not happening. I've never heard about that. That might be comfortable right now, but I guarantee you in 6 months to 6 years down the line, you're going to wish you had an inquisitive nature and gone and looked at these things. We have got people now whose bodies are malfunctioning because of DNA augmentation that they did not understand nor agree to, because there was no way that informed consent could have been given, because they did not know what was being placed in their body. And yet, I feel kind of stupid for wondering why then our potato in chief didn't stand up and apologize to Maui and send his condolences to the people that are lost. I feel like I should have an ear tag, like a cow on a farm, because I believe that I mean about that much to that man. And it's sad to think that, because when I was a little girl, I wanted to grow up and I wanted to change the world and I wanted to make it a better place and I wanted to help people and I wanted to pull people from depravity and from those unhappy places that their hearts and minds can go, and put them back into a happier way, a more productive life. And sadly, most of my life has been, yes, I've helped a lot of people, but most of it has been having a realistic view about the evils in the world and just teaching people how to dodge them, teaching people how to protect and guard themselves and their livelihoods, their lives, their family, and their homes, from some of the most obvious things that are going on out there that is just not kosher. It's not kosher at all. If you've never read about the Edgewood experiments, please go read about the Edgewood experiments. If you've never read about Plum Island. If you've never read about how Jekyll Island began, if you've not read about the mosquitoes that have been released with every little bit of everything in them, if you've not looked at and really studied the programs that Mr. Booby the Bill Man Gates has done in Africa that has caused mass loss of life and mass sterilization. That's basically been his Play-Doh fun factory for years and years and years. And that's why you talk to a lot of people from Africa and they have a direct hate. If I'm not mistaken, you'll have to research for yourself, but I think that Bill Gates is not welcome back in India ever because of issues that he brought into that area years ago. And yet this man with no medical degree runs and controls most of our medicinal ideologies and advancements. Well, that would be like me running Jenny Craig. Makes a lot of sense, don't it? That would be like me, starting a salad restaurant. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't, just doesn't make a lot of sense. But people just see that and they think, oh, he's got the power because he's got the money. But why does he have the money? And why does money equal power? And how is he tripling and quadrupling his money when he says he's a humanitarian? Rockefeller used to stand out and throw dimes into the public. And they thought, oh, he's such a benevolent man. He'll throw his own money out into the crowd. Well, yeah, he had more money than worlds needed. And he would throw a dime or two out to the crowds. And people thought, oh, he's so benevolent. He's throwing his own money at us. But if you look at it from his perspective, he was giving such a minute little flippant piece of money to watch people squirm at just a fraction of what he had. Was that truly a benevolent man? Really? Really? Because he took all of your medicines and he made them petroleum based so he could be rich when there was no reason for medications to be petroleum based. And we now know that petroleum does far more harm to the human body than natural medications. Woohoo, do your research. I'm not a doctor. Well, actually I have my master's in psychology, but I'm not a doctor of medicine, but just do your research on that, y'all. Don't believe anything I say. Do your research. Don't believe anything anybody says. Always do your own research. But they thought that was benevolent to have that man throw dimes into the crowd. Oh, he's such a benevolent man. He loves us so much. If he loved you, he would have left your natural medications alone and not put them in petroleum-based crap so he could make a ton of money so that you would stay sick. Oh, how dare you say something about one of the greatest men in history? Really? Show me one thing he did that truly aided mankind. Because all I see is him doing something so he could get quadruple the return. And that's the same way I feel about Bill Gates. Oh yeah, you got to read. I have one of those minds that just has to constantly be absorbing something. You've got to read. You've got to learn about a lot of these dark departments that our government has created to go out and create fictitious issues so that they can create fictitious subgroups to take care of the fictitious problems so that they can get information on the people. And it's just like, yo, if you would just be honest and tell us what you're up to, it'd go a whole lot better. It'd go a whole lot better. We just need to know what you're up to. And the information that is coming out, and if you watch Dr. John Campbell, and if you don't, I recommend you start watching John Campbell. If you don't watch Bjorn the Bull Hansen, I can get that out. You should be watching Bjorn the Bull Hansen. You should be watching these people and listening to other countries seeing this from different vantage points. Because it's like I say, you need at least 4 perspectives to have a well-rounded opinion yourself. So I read from other countries and I'm like, oh, Oh, and I learn a lot more from the other countries than I do from our media, because our media is crap. Our media couldn't report on a dog turd if it laid in the street and didn't move and shrunk in 10 days. They would not be able to write an adequate story about crap in the road. They couldn't. I watch all the news channels because I want to see everybody's mindset, and I'm watching CNN say that this is worse than Watergate, what's going on, but they're only talking about a motive. They're not talking about an actual crime. There was no actual action. There was no consequence. There was no consequential action that harmed anyone. There was no crime committed. There was an opinion. There was a foundation of a thought formed that his opinion was that there was something going on that was not kosher. And he talked with his legal team about how can we get this looked into. But nothing was augmented, nothing was changed. There was no criminal act to prosecute. There was only a motive that they think occurred. And if I had a very good judge look at me one day and say, if we start to punish people based on motive rather than criminal behavior and actions, he said, then everyone will create their own monster, and we will be in court for everyone's own monster, and we will be squashing fictitious monsters with fictitious laws for fictitious reasons, and our society will be a circus. Notably, that judge retired right about the time all this crap started changing. And I think it's because he was a good man and he couldn't stay in this realm and watch something that he felt had been important to uphold his whole life just fall to crap. So much respect to him. But he was right. If you just start to look at people and punish them on motive, imagine the consequences you could give somebody you really don't like if you're a nihilistic butthole that you think you should have that control anyway. Holy crap, our society would unravel like a cheap burlap sack in a windstorm. I mean, we would have, there's no glue anymore in this nation to hold us together. Thank you, Oscar. You just had to have water right now. Thank you, my dog. But we have really done a lot to tear apart humanity. And then when you hear people start to talk about real issues that there's real peer-reviewed information on, and there's real scientific studies on, and there's real paperwork and a foundation of knowledge on, and there's real proof, and there's real criminal consequences to, people go, no, that's not real. That's not real. I don't want to hear it because it might hurt the way I feel. Maybe your feelings need to be hurt. Maybe your feelings need to be hurt to the point where you will open your eyes and see what's really going on, absorb some real knowledge, seek out some real information, and start having real conversations. Because the longer the good people keep their mouths shut, and the longer that these crazy nihilistic people steer the ship of America, the more rocks we're going to hit and the more good people we're going to lose. And all I can say is this is not good. I have the most sick feeling in the pit of my stomach that they are trying to create, more so than punish a political rival, they are trying to create an uprising so that they can damn half of this nation's people. This is very 1940s-ish reminiscent for me. Actually 1930s-ish leading into the 1940s. This is very repetitive. This is, I mean, if you go back and look at Russia's history, you go back and look at Poland and Germany's history, you go back and look at Rome's history. You know, it's just like, did we not learn anything? Did we not learn anything? How much is that money going to mean to you when you have no society, no world in which it has any value? Really, rich people? Really? Really? Like, I have no money right now, so I don't feel like I have a dog in this race. I will just have to live harder than I do now. But why is this such an important endeavor if you're really going to bomb the world? Is it so that you'll have enough money to buy up all the land so that you can own everything and people will have absolutely nothing? Are we going to do that all over again like after the Depression, to where everyone was so poor that the the people that actually had money, when it got worth again, they started buying up everything. Everything. And so renting and finding homes and work was pathetic because there was such monopolization, and then finally in the 50s and 60s, people started to contest it and take it to court, and certain things got broke down. AT&T got busted up, and we started to have less conglomerates and monopolies and more smaller businesses, and we got healthy for a while, and now here we go again. Have we not learned anything? Did we not learn anything? I mean, I wasn't there, but I read about it. You can review all the stock market. You can go and find every name of every person that committed suicide during the Great Depression from those buildings they jumped from. I mean, all this is passed down in oral and written history. Are we all so blind? Have we all become such inward, soul-sucking, vacuous pod people that we can't look at the people around us and have a moment of sympathy or empathy and say, I care enough for you that I'm going to open my mind and have a different thought? I'm going to look at this differently to see if I can help us both instead of just me. Well, they haven't taken my joy, because my joy comes from Jesus. So they haven't taken my joy, but they certainly have my animosity. They certainly have my hackles up. And I'm certainly allowed to say I'm not happy with you. I'm certainly allowed to say I'm not happy with you. And this is not the way that this world is supposed to go. This is not the way this nation is supposed to be ran. This is not the way that America is supposed to be thriving. It's not thriving. This is not the way our society is supposed to be behaving. Oh my God, the boy in The Blind Side, that Michael, whatever his name was. Anyway, he had been passed around for his whole juvenile life. Nobody wanted him. Nobody would keep him. Nobody would feed him. He just passed till he was homeless. And the Tuohys took him in. Of course, the Tuohys had chains of restaurants. So they were wealthy. So they took him in, loved him, gave him everything he needed, treated him like their own, helped him, find out where he shined. He shined in sports and being basically a defense tackle. And they helped him find what he loved. And he got the ability to go to school, to play that game, to go to college, to play it professionally, make a lot of money. And then all of a sudden, he got sidelined and retired. And then yesterday, he writes a book last month. He comes out with a book. And then yesterday, he files suit against the Tuohys because they had a conservatorship over him, and he says, well, I thought I was adopted. Well, I'm sorry, sir, as a 15 to 18 to 19-year-old juvenile and young man, if you went and you had to be present at all those court hearings and you had to verbalize your understanding to the judge and to the foster care review board and to everybody that was in the conservatorship, you had to understand and speak back to them, and they had to find you a sound mind. If you did not understand that, it should have been taken care of then, not now. But he's going after them for millions of dollars, saying that I thought I was adopted. It was only conservatorship, and so they could get my money. Why would they want your money? They took you in when you had nothing, loved you, gave you every opportunity, every advancement that their money could offer you. And you're mad that you had a career in the NFL and a great family, people that loved you, a home to be warm in, a really nice home to be warm in, and were safe when you had never been safe through most of your juvenile years. And now you're going to go back and attack those people because you think they took some of your money? Why would you think they took some of your money? They were rich before you ever entered the picture. So were they really your family? Did you really love them too? Or are they just cows to be milked? Because now we've got this whole racial divide story coming up and how he was taken advantage of. And I'm sorry, but at the age that they had him and him going to court, he should have known what was going on, because he had to verbalize his understanding. In any court, and any family worker, any social worker that thought he did not understand would have stopped it immediately and said he does not have the capacity to understand. But a man that does not have the capacity to understand the difference between an adoption and a conservatorship couldn't play in the freaking NFL and remember 45 game plays. So I'm sorry, Mr. Football Player, I ain't buying your line. You had a really good life. Don't screw it up now. Be happy that you had people that loved you, that still love you, that have been your family, and that want you to be in their family. Can't get what you don't have. I'm telling you what. Sadly, most people don't have hearts, so they don't have anything to offer this world. Aries 106. Money is not a thing in this world, and I'm not a good friend to anyone else, and I should feel like I'm not good at it because I don't want to think I'm not worth it. Because people are so scared to say, this is who I am. I'm a little bit weirder than you. I'm different than you. And we want to be such carbon copies, like this stupid Barbie movie. Women, stop taking your daughters to a Barbie movie. Stop filling their brains full of this nonsense that a man is an accessory and not a soulmate in life. Not someone that completes you. Not a family unit. Ken is freaking treated like home interior in this movie. And the first thing they do is they bash the heads into their baby dolls because Barbie dolls are so much more sophisticated. I'm sorry, women, we are not more sophisticated. No, my great-grandma could have a kid and then go out and dig the taters in the evening. That's a sophisticated woman. That's a woman that can keep crap going and hold the fort down. We got women now that have to have safe spaces to cry because their cramps are too hard. I came from people that were sent over here as slaves to conquer the world, to conquer the wilderness, because the rich people could use my Irish descendants as fodder to get lost in the woods and to get eaten by the bears and the mountain lions and everything else and die of the diseases and do the hard work that they didn't want to do. And then those hardy people met natives. So I've got some bloodlines in me that's just belligerent rebellion, and I understand that. But can we not see how we are tearing down the integrity of what our young people can grow up to be by showing them such stupidity and making it seem as though it is something to ascertain, to aspire to? And let me tell you about aspirations, okay? This is why I say things are dual context a lot. Because in life, to have aspirations means to have a goal to move forward to. But medically, if you aspirate, something went the wrong way. So I think there's dualistic in everything. And I think humanity has a dualistic mode. You can be positive, you can be negative, and you can waver back and forth from day to day, but you got to pick more days to be positive than negative. And if you don't pick more days to care about someone other than yourself, you're going to have such a void of a life that you're going to think everyone else has that void. And you're going to become such an empty shell that you think everyone else is an empty shell. And you're going to start to hate this world, hate society, and you're going to start to generate that. And then you're going to reach out to find more people that have that same hate. And then the hate starts breeding. But as positive people, don't necessarily try to find positive people anymore because society has shut us down. We're not supposed to gather and have praise, worship, or happy meetings anymore. We're supposed to talk about day 365 of being somebody that somebody else hates. How about being day 10,000 of what God made me? And I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that. You cool with that? Because I'm cool with who God made you. We can't do that anymore. We can only talk about the negative things or the things that give us the motivation to make others negative. How about we talk about the positive things? How about we talk about the woman in the news this morning that drowned trying to save a child that was struggling in the lake? That woman cared enough to put her life on the line to save another human being. My God. And I've seen one news story about this woman. She made the ultimate sacrifice, and I've seen one news story about this woman. One. But I've seen the potato and cheese son's butt crack because he posted it all over the internet himself. And every media will talk. We'll talk about that. And we'll either tell you that he's allowed to do that and we have to feel sorry for him, or he needs to straighten up and fly right. And there's a blend of both of those that need to occur. I do feel sorry for him because he's been in a super stressful life and he's had a lot of negative things go wrong and he's turned to a lot of bad coping mechanisms. But he also has a lot of stuff going for him and a lot more positive resources than most people. And he could straighten up if he really wanted to. He has to love himself enough to do it. And I don't think he does. And that's why I'm concerned about every action he takes when he has power over this nation and influence over this nation, just like his father. I am concerned that there is a void in there. There's an empty black spot to where he's not making the best decisions for others, because he certainly couldn't make the best decisions for himself. And I'm sorry, if you can't drive a smart car, I ain't putting you in an 18-wheeler. And that's what I feel like we've done with this family that's in control in our nation. And it scares the crap out of me. So this woman should be celebrated. No one wants to talk about her. Nobody. So that's not news. What's news? Oh, our last president ripping the tag off a mattress and getting indictments, because that's basically what it amounts to. Oh, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Please start to read. Go to Georgia. Go to ga.gov or georgia.gov, however Georgia's website is written. Start going through Georgia's annotated code. Start reading through the chapters that have to do with the RICO law. Start researching and seeing if this makes sense to you, and start seeing if racketeering could possibly have applied to Stacey Abrams when she started screaming it was stolen from her the last election. And I mean, Democrats challenged into like 2017 or 18, challenged the North Carolina election. They've challenged like 6 or 7 over the last 8 or 9 years. And you're allowed to do that. Those slate of other electors, constitutionally allowed to be had. It's supposed to go through the court system. It's supposed to be investigated. They're playing with us because a lot of us don't take time to research and know what's going on, and to know the laws in our own nation, and to know our own constitution, and to understand the application of the law, because they're changing the language so that they can change the laws, they can manipulate the laws, they can change the culture, because what they're after is domination. And I don't know why power is such an intoxicating thing, but to some people it is. Power is an addiction like anything else. And people that love to soak in it and stay there normally have the same faults, issues, and behaviors as someone who uses illicit drugs. They have almost the same chemical reactions in their brain, the same light-up patterns. And masters in psychology, I know all these things. They get the same dopamine hits and chemical light-ups that an addict gets when they use those people that get power. Their brains do the same thing. So it is an addiction just like anything else. And it is an overwhelming, compelling addiction. It is something that you will harm others to maintain. Look at how many addicts harm their families, blow all their money, ruin their families, lose homes, lose their children. Everything falls apart because of a substance. Now think of power being just another substance addiction, because it's the same way in the brain. Imagine what that could do if someone had that and was leading this country. And why is it if his son is so smart to be on these boards, how come he's never on a board in a freestanding country that had free trade options? I mean, people ask me what Ukraine, well, Elizabeth, what do you think Ukraine is? I think it's the biggest laundromat in the world. I think it is the biggest depot for the saddest things that happen on this earth. And I think it's been a playground for the powerful, the elite, and the perpetually screwed up for a long, long time. And I feel sorry for the people that have grown up in that. But I'm an American citizen, and my heart goes out first to the people in Maui, because those are my brethren. But we have nothing left to send them. We have nothing left to help them with. We've eviscerated our nation and bled to death to help people that have no profit margin for us whatsoever. But they're profiting someone because you don't send aid to just anybody. So just read, do your research, look into things, make your own mind up. Try to find 4 perspectives when you look, instead of just seeing one perspective, try to look for 4 or 5 and challenge yourself. Have that internal dialogue where you challenge yourself and say, yeah, but how would someone else see this? How would someone else respond to this? And I'm just sitting here and I'm going, oh, this is a giant merry-go-round circle jerk. And these politicians love it because it gets people aggravated, antagonistic, and attacking. It breaks down society. Society turns a blind eye because society's busy being little shitheads and the politicians get away with everything. Stop being mean to your fellow man. Show love. Look at the politicians. Literally, 500 people are ruining a nation of 330 to 350 million. Our politicians are a gnat on a bull's ass. The people of America are the bull. We've got to remember that. And we've got to change this with positive behavior. We've got to change this with, we've got to be prominent. We've got to speak. We've got to not be ashamed to have our point of view and our opinion. And we've got to stop, saying, oh, I don't want to cause a problem, so I'm just going to shut up. That is how nations fall. That is how societies and cultures fall. So we're falling. And my cousin, hey Haley, it's good to see you again, Haley. I worry about you from time to time. I'm so glad to see you pop up. Your cousin spent 24 years in the Air Force and you just retired. Air Force isn't one. My uncle was a bigwig and actually spoke in front of Congress many times, and he retired. And you talk to him about what's going on, and he just shakes his head. It will bring him to tears. So, and this is all created by design. And I still beg each and every one of you to go and listen, even if it's somebody you think is off the wall. Put it in your crap pile and sift through it and see what you want to stick and what you want to throw away. Don't just look at somebody and go, oh, you're talking shit. Take it all in, put it in your mental manure pile and sift through it, and what you want to keep and what you don't, sift out. But don't throw a person away because they think differently than you. Do your own research. Never take anything anyone says as truth, but stick it in there and do your research and sift through it and read, educate, look at other countries' newspapers, read perspectives from other nations on our nation, and that's enlightening. Look into the 37 or 38 times that the U.S. government has been caught doing nasty things to society and testing on us without permission, and oops, they got caught and had to pay for it. Read these things, read congressional hearings, go read peer-reviewed journals, look at these constitutional poli-sci wizards given their perspectives, look at everything, and then try to look at the differences in behaviors and motivation in these different tribalistic ideology factions. Weigh out who you want to be and have a big talk with your heart, and if you have a spiritual connection, have a big talk with whoever you go upward to, because it's going to be bad. I've read a lot about the Maui wildfires, and I believe it was, like I said earlier, I think it's kind of like is this going to be the Trail of Tears for Hawaii? And was it done to the land so that the land could be gained by the government? I have questions. And as an American citizen, I'm allowed to have questions. And somebody wants to take that away from me. So everybody should be concerned about that. I've not read that, but I will check into it. I didn't know a book had already been released, but I know that Maui, the people are mad because it's almost like there was like sabotage that occurred because the alarms were apparently defective, and the hydrants, the water systems were empty. It was almost like it was created, and that fire spread a mile a minute. That's how quickly that fire spread. And just for me, the thought of a government thinking that loss of life to obtain land is okay blows my mind, because what is a nation without your citizens? But then again, I question every butt that sits in Washington, D.C. that makes decisions that impact my life. So that's just where I am. But y'all start really digging. And I beg I know that y'all don't like to hear weird jargon and you don't like to hear talk that's out there. But one person that I do listen to a lot is on the Odyssey app. She has a channel called Synergy, Psinergy. And it talks a lot about the electrical components of your body. And for me, having a master's in psychology, I understand what she's saying. She talks about the human biofield. I get it. You do have an energetic aura. You can feel it when you're around people. When you listen to music, it reacts to music. Sometimes you have these things in your body, but we're not taught about them anymore. And a lot of the calcification in our brains from all the things that's been put into our food and stuff has created a lot of loss of those six senses that are past generations and ancestors had. We don't have that anymore. We've got a lot of calcification in very important spots in our brains, and we've lost a lot of that sixth sense. Some people say that they're even trying to shut down our ability to have a God link. I don't know about that. I'm still reading on that. My jury's still in on that one, but wouldn't surprise me. But go listen to her. She is a data tech whiz. She's like savant level whiz. And it takes me, literally, she can talk for 15 minutes and it will take me 5 days to research. But when I research, I find so many other trails to go down. And I learn so much just because I listen to somebody that I normally wouldn't listen to, that thinks differently than me, speaks differently than me, and focuses differently than me. But the collaboration that I get, because it sends me down all these research lines, it creates a wealth of knowledge that I otherwise would not have. So go to the Odyssey channel and watch the Synergy channel, the Odyssey app, and watch the Synergy channel, and just give her a chance, and then look at some of the other people that are out talking about these things. And y'all, I'm just saying, if our nation has gotten to where now you can punish the lawyer for getting defense options or defense talk or legal defense options, or even just hypothetical talk to your defendant, then every criminal defense attorney in this nation should be in jail right now. So when are you going to go take them to jail, everybody? Because if giving your clients opinions and what someone may deem criminal, well, we know for sure that if you're a criminal defense attorney and you've got somebody that does have a criminal charge, everyone that has been a criminal defense attorney and has had people convicted of that felony should be arrested right now, because they gave that felon an insight on how to get out of this. So every criminal defense attorney that has had at least one conviction, which most of them have, it's plea deals. They all get convicted. It's just they plea it down to where it's not as bad as it would be. So every criminal defense attorney that's ever had even one conviction should be arrested for having criminal conversations and aiding and abetting criminal behavior and someone trying to get out of a criminal conundrum. But nobody else can look at it like that. But seriously, if that's what we're coming to, if Trump's attorneys can be arrested like that, then every other criminal defense attorney that has had one criminal conviction under their belt should also be arrested, because they did the same thing. Only their client was already convicted, so we know they're guilty. It's just stupid. It's stupid. And it's what bothers me is that they sit in Congress and they sit in their big ivory towers and they think we're so dumb that we'll let it happen. We're not that dumb. We're just that tired and beat down. But if we start to pull our energy and build a positive response to this and come back and say, heck to the no, and if we all turn into Oliver Anthony's and create an anthem of, by God, this is not our nation, give us our nation back, that fly on that, that gnat on that bull's ass, it will have to be swatted away eventually. There are so many powerful, peaceful, positive, energetic options to change the world. I just hate seeing the negativity win. I hate seeing the negativity win. Oh yeah, and I read something about that. It seemed like it was a setup, like it was they already had the story ready to go, so they knew it was going to happen. Like they were informed ahead of time that I did read about that. I didn't like I glazed over it because I read a lot every day. I glazed over it. Yeah, that was odd for me too. I mean, it was like all those things in succession. It was the perfect storm. Sorry, but rarely does things go so right to end up so wrong. That takes planning. That takes effort, and we should have someone looking into that. But he's been on vacation. Give him a break. Oh, and then they finally came out a couple weeks ago with the found at the White House probably was one of the first families. Well, no crap, Sherlock. Who else doesn't get body scanned and frisked and probed before they go into the White House? How stupid do you think we are? We need to stop letting them think we're stupid, and we need to start having positive, affirmative, energetical, come together, be communities, and start singing out that we want a positive world back. We want a positive nation back. We don't want corruption. We don't want in wars. We don't want money laundering. We don't want crazy presidents of other countries that have danced and pleathered all the single ladies telling us that they want our sons to go fight their battles. We just want our nation back. We want to live free. We want to own our land. We want to grow our gardens. We want to go to work and make a decent living. And we want to be able to raise our children and not think that some stupid person is going to push a red button and eradicate the people that our loins create in the next generation. I mean, it's that simple. It's that simple. We got the tail wagging the dog right now. The dog needs to speak up. The Hawaiian people are, they don't, they're fixing to take a big old swap of that fly. The Hawaiian people have that, what is that, Samoan side and their native side, they have a very no crap policy. So I'm anxious to see how they handle this, because they will not take kindly, because they are very much stewards of that land, and they understand that they have a very big bond with that land and the water and that island and their native life and their culture, and it's been eradicated. And if they find out that it was done in some malicious, malevolent way, I expect Hawaii to set off a huge chain of events in this nation where people are going to really start speaking up and saying, excuse me, I have a mother freaking question and I want a mother freaking answer. I don't want a 3-minute spot on Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, or, no, I want a mother freaking answer. And we're going to have to start putting people on the point like that. And it's not about being physically aggressive. It's about being smart enough to play the field and to overwhelm them in their own game. Right now, they're running mouth diarrhea. We need to come back and we need to run positive affirmation, answer our questions. We have about 330 million, so you need to shut up and answer them, because you can't satisfy 330 million people in 3 minutes on Fox News. So shut up. Go have a hearing, and let's start answering some real questions. Let's let every state send in like 25 questions, and let's stick those people up there and make them answer our goddamn questions. And then if they answer it, it should be done in trial format, and they should be all have to do an affidavit, and it should be all under oath, and we should be able to prosecute if they lie. Because we got some crap going on in this nation that we need to filter out, because they are abusing the system to manipulate every aspect of our life. And the thing is most of us don't want much. We just won't be able to enjoy life, and it's getting really hard. Hey, Third Eye, how you doing? I know the wind reports were weird, but that thing went a mile a minute. That's even unheard of for California wildfires that have the Santa Anas. It's like, whew, how? Was there an accelerant? What's going on? And so I'm trying to kind of keep up and read, but it's difficult because they censor so much. They really do. They just censor so much. And so lots of times I have to actually go out of our country to get like independent reporting on these things, because much like they did with Tucker Carlson and the Capitol Police Chief, they edited out stuff that could have exonerated Trump from that spotlight. He was there for like an hour on Tucker Carlson this morning. They've released it now. Tucker released it now. But now nobody's paying attention to it, so it's not doing any good. So it's just, I don't know. I like to hear 5 or 6 different points of view before I really start to fill out a story. And I just feel like I live in a land of parrots, that they hear one line and they run with one line. And it's just like, people, we're not this dumb. We're not this dumb. Yeah, the Weather Modification Act of 1976. Yep. And then I'm telling y'all, if you don't believe gene editing has been on the table since about the 50s or 60s, look into gene editing, gene modification, modified humans. They're going to what they call them. They refer to them as hybrids, and it's not that they're like half wolf, half. It's that they've started gene editing years and years and years ago. That's why we have certain things in our food and certain things in medication and certain things in water and they're augmenting us, and that's why this was supposed to become a household name to make us comfortable with this thing that could directly be the easy in to augment our genetic makeup. And it didn't become the household name that they wanted it to, so they're mad. So now they're trying to find other ways. But go watch John Campbell. Go watch Bjorn the Bull Hansen. Go watch Appalachia Homestead with Patera. Oh my God, if you want to see some stupidity, go watch those Kaczynski brothers that were on Temple that one night. Oh my, I feel so sorry when I watch them. I'm like, you're twins and you have 2 brains and you're still stupid. And I'm like, how does that happen? It's all a big portrayal, a big pageant, a big show put on for us. I want the show to stop, and I want the real world to come back, and I want us to just have life where we grow our real food. Our food comes from the ground. Nothing's modified. Nothing augments us if we eat it. You don't augment our seeds so we can't grow seeds from our seeds. If I take seeds, I do heirloom quality seeds so I can always grow, but most seeds are Monsanto genetically modified them so that you can get one plant from them, but the seeds that that plant have will not produce another plant. So you have to go back and buy more seeds. They have eradicated our ability to take care of ourselves if the shit hits the fan because of money. With that motive, now you got to look at other stuff and go, if that's the motive there, what else have they done? Because that's a pretty big deal to augment Mother Nature and try to make illegal heirloom seeds and keeping seeds, so that you have to go and buy these seeds that have been modified that can give you one plant, and one growing season, one harvest, and then you can't use any of the seeds you harvest from those plants because they will not produce. Monsanto. Dr. It's that lady from India. Oh, Shivi, Dr. Siobhan Shivi. Anyway, she's brilliant, and she can tell you all about it. She did a big thing with Russell Brand a few years ago, but she's a very prominent figure, doctor. She's an older woman, and she'll just point blank tell you what they did in India that disrupted the farming, because they started it over there, Because guess whose idea it was? Well, he wears glasses, thinks he's it on a stick, has man boobs, and was found on an island a lot. He started that crap over there, and the Indian farmers chased his butt out, along with a lot of the he did over there. He's not welcome there anymore. Mondina Shiva, you'll find her if you just search. She's great. She can give you a lot of information. Go and listen to these people, and just expand your brain. Because I'm telling you all, if you're on a gravel road living in this society, you're screwed. You need to be on a mother freaking 8-lane highway where you're soaking up a bunch of information so that you can make a well-informed decision on which path you're going to follow. Because there are a lot of things you need to know out there these days to keep yourself safe and protected and just socially aware. So, even though I'm out in the boondocks, you best believe I'm reading like a city dweller. I'm reading like somebody that's playing stock market, worldwide and got money invested in every nation. I'm reading everything because I know that everything is affecting everybody right now. Yep, my heirlooms are still going strong. Yep, that's why I preach heirloom, and try to buy you every year, try to buy you 2 more years of heirloom seeds. So you can go on, and a lot of these older farms will sell you a packet that will have a mini garden in each packet, and it's like $28, and you get a butt ton of seeds in them. And seeds are good for like 3 to 5 years, 3 being the optimum, 5 being and they might not all produce. Try to keep you 2 to 3 years of seeds, heirloom quality seeds at any time, so that if something happens, you've got excess to keep going, and then make sure you're harvesting your seeds. You bet your sweet bippy I'm putting pantyhose on my sunflowers and stuff right now because I want some of the seeds because the birds eat them all. You bet your sweet bippy that I am taking seeds off of stuff. I've got yarrow. I've taken up yarrow. I have got heirloom tomato seeds. And I've gotten in with this other very, very like heirloom crazy lady, and we're helping each other start herb gardens. And so we're getting the heirloom herbs that are medicinal, and I've already got a lot of herbs, but we're amping up our herb gardens. Because here pretty soon you're not going to be able to get a true reproductive seed. Like, it's already almost impossible unless you know and have the knowledge of what they're doing. Most city dwellers don't know this. They've never planted a seed. They don't know. They buy their flowers at Lowe's. They buy their plants at Lowe's, and they don't know how that plant is created. So it's like I'm trying to tell everybody, understand, get you a medicinal herbs book. Be aware of the plants that are edible around you in your area. Understand how to make a poultice, a salve. Understand how to make tinctures. The mullein. Oh, the mullein I started a few weeks ago. Hang on, I'll show you. Oh gosh, I'm so sore. I can barely move today. Let me just knock everything down while I'm at it. The mullein that I started the other day, I had to top it with more sugar the other day. Look. Now, in about 3 more weeks, after this seeps down and goes through the flowers and goes through the layers, I will then sieve it and squeeze it through cheesecloth. And then the syrup that I have, homemade cough syrup, mullein. Just know how to do these things. All this is you go pick the yellow flowers, and you start out with sugar, a layer of the yellow flowers, sugar, yellow flowers, sugar, yellow flowers, sugar. And as it sinks, you just keep putting sugar. And mullein is a plant that is great it's been known in books as an herb that, this is not a doctor, this is just what I read in herb, and this is mountain knowledge. Helps with asthmatic issues, bronchitis, helping clear the respiratory, bronchial pathways. It helps with inflammation of nasals and sinuses. It's just really good for coughs and respiratory crap. So, I do not like a lot of the cough medicines. They have a lot of really weird things in them these days. And my mother coughs a lot during the winter. And David normally gets bronchitis at least once every 3 winters. So I'm starting to make mullein. Now, this will make about that much mullein, which is enough for 2 people all winter long, because you just need a teaspoon. When you start to get a tickle in your throat or have a cold, you just need a teaspoon. So you leave it in a windowsill where the sun can get on it, and it makes itself. it makes itself. You just got to watch it. And then once it gets it all done, you sieve it, press it, cheesecloth, squeeze it, and put it in I'm going to put it in a brown tincture jar and put it back in a nice, cool, dark cabinet. So, and I'm fixing to, here in about a month, I'll be taking up goldenrod for more goldenrod tincture. I've got lyre sage in my yard. I'm going to be taking up lyre sage this year. I got heirloom chamomile and yarrow from my friend that I'm going to sow next year. And I am really beefing up my medicinal herb garden. I've already got lemon balm, apple mint, lyre sage, violets, dandelion, plantain. I've got a lot of stuff. I've got dead nettle, red and purple dead nettle. I've got, of course, I'm surrounded by pine trees. The 5 bundles are the ones you make the tea out of. I've got a really nice white pine out there that you can make the tea out of. The sap out of the other trees can be made can turn into chapsticks and skin stuff for people that have like psoriasis or eczema. There's a lot of this stuff that can be used in ways that a lot of people just don't know. And I'm lucky I grew up with a lot of old people that I followed around and got a lot of knowledge from. And I'm trying to exacerbate that knowledge rather quickly now because I think the world's tanking. So I'm trying to stay ahead. Oh yeah, honey garlic. If you have honey and garlic, always keep your garlic and honey. And when you start to get a cold, eat your whole clove. You can take a teaspoon, but it's just best to get your teaspoon and a whole clove and just eat it and get it down you. Oil of oregano. I've been using oil of oregano. Now, I'm not a doctor. This is not medicinal. This is just how I treat me. Oil of oregano is great for respiratory. It's like a natural antibiotic. I keep a lot of tea tree oil in this house. I keep a lot of bentonite clay, food grade. I keep black seed oil. I keep Irish sea moss. I keep turmeric. My spice cabinet is also my medicine cabinet. So I have a lot of knowledge that I'm happy I have, but I still need more. I'm not y'all think, oh, she's so smart. I'm not prepared. I need more. I know a lot of roots to dig. I know ginseng and I know sassafras and I know bloodroot and I know how to do a lot of things that maybe you all don't know how to do, but I still don't know enough. I need to know more. So, I just want to urge everyone to stay inquisitive, stay interested in learning something new and learning it about the earth, the land around you, the plants around you, and what they're really supposed to be used for and how you can use them to benefit yourself. I'm basically planting the chamomile because I want chamomile tea and I want it to be heirloom chamomile tea because I'm a tea snob. But chamomile is one of those things you can enjoy the flowers, but there's actually very medicinal as well. So I'm totally turned into a tea snob in my old days. Sunflower stalks are edible. Sunflower leaves and sunflower stalks are edible. It tastes like asparagus or greens. A lot of people don't know that. And it's just like there's a lot of resources that people have that they don't they would starve and not realize they have food. Yeah, and I actually put copper with some of my plants so that it draws more nutrients because the soil is so nutrient deficient. But we're lucky here because we still have livestock and we can get manure, and we've got friends that has chicken houses and we had horses here forever. So we've got good soil in certain places. And but it's going to get to where you can't even get lime and stuff for your ground, and they're doing that for reasons. But I actually put some copper near some of my plants, and my tomatoes and squash went ballistic. I left some squash in there for the deer to bust up and eat because I had pickled as much as I want to pickle, and I ate enough to kill a cow. So I was like, I'm done with the squash. The deer can have the squash now. Now I'm on to tomatoes, and then I'll be on to corn. But the cucumbers are still coming in too. But I've made a run of pickled squash and onions, and I've made a run of bread and butter pickles, and I'm fixing to hit the green tomatoes and can those, and then I'm going to make tomato sauce from the red tomatoes, and then I got to put my corn up. And then we'll deal with the potatoes when I get the potatoes. But it's just, all these things that you have to do if you live off the land. Yeah, that copper really helps. It really pulls. It's grounding. It pulls all those other things back into the earth. That's why I love. You'll see me wear a lot of those wrapped gemstone rings. They're copper wire. They might have a silver layer over them, but after a while that wears away, and the copper. And I always feel better when I wear the copper wire rings. So if you ever see me with my gemstone rings on, it's because they have copper wire in them. I wear my juniper berry ghost beads, Navajo ghost beads every day, and I wear my turquoise and my labradorite and my obsidian every day. I'm big into gems and the things in the earth, the minerals in the earth, and what the good Lord made them for, and how they augment us. So I'm learning a lot, and it's taken wonderful people that have entered my life to teach me more, because I didn't know a lot about the gems and stuff, even though I live on a giant hunk of granite and limestone and sandstone. You think I would have known more, but I did know a lot of the gardening, a lot of the plant, because I used to dig ginseng and dig bloodroot and yellow root, stuff like that with my husband when I had good legs. So just always want to know more. If you ever find yourself not wanting to know more, the world's fixing to get way worse than just the last round of Double Jeopardy. Prod yourself to keep learning more. Prod yourself to keep learning more, because there's always going to be something you need to know. And knowledge is something that if you store it, it's going to be useful some way. Can you ask me a law enforcement related question? Yes, I will try to answer. No, I was not a street officer. I was a parole and probation and interstate compact officer. And I monitor sex offenders. So I had the other side, but I know back and forth a lot about it. I'll wait for her question, and then we'll call it a wrap after that, because I've got stuff I've got to do. My FedEx man brought a package while I was sitting here. I heard him back in. And Oscar's very unhappy because he didn't get his biscuit because I didn't let him out of the house to go see him. Oscar and the FedEx man have bonded. We've got a new one now, and he's been with us for about a month, and Oscar's already bonded to the new FedEx man. It's kind of funny to watch my dog, because he gets very attached to my nurses and my PT nurse and the FedEx man, and he's very attached to these people that show up, every so often, and he gets frustrated when he can't say hello to them. And he has no fear. He will jump up in the FedEx truck to get his biscuit. He doesn't care. They're used to my dog, though, so. Would it concern you if officers told you something was an accident that would be investigated, but then refused to give you the results without a court order? If there was an accident and it was investigated, there has to be a report on file. And if it was an accident that was investigated, were there any charges that came from it? Was anyone punished for anything? But normally most of that stuff is public record. They may have to redact certain information to protect, people's identities and specific information, but normally that stuff is public record. If there was a charge or a conviction that emanated around it, then or if it was one of your family that was in it, then that's public information. It should be privy to them, and they should go and ask for a copy of the complete file. You may have to pay like a $5 copy for the ladies to copy it, because paper is getting outrageous, but it's public information, and you should get it, even if they have to go through and redact certain. If there's like another person in like a car wreck, they have to, take their information out, so you don't know their social security number, date of birth, and all that crap. But it's public information. You should be able to get that, and your insurance information should be able to get it, if nothing else. Now, investigations have to be handled in a set time frame, so they have to be closed, or they have to be deemed like a cold case or left open or ongoing. They can't just kind of leave them hanging. There has to be movement, and it has to be kind of gone through its paces and presented so many times. If I were you, I would probably try to go in and talk with the sheriff and be like, listen, I need this information. First thing I would do is go to the circuit court clerk and ask for a copy of the file of this accident, especially if it's relating to you or a family member. Take them and ask for a copy of that file, because if it pertains to them, it's their information as well. And just say, I need it for insurance purposes or something. And they will make you a copy. You may have to pay a small copy fee, and they will redact any information about the other person, social security, date, and stuff like that, date of birth stuff, so that you won't have it. But it should have the police report and the officer's narrative. That should be public record. It is public record. You should be able to get it. If that doesn't work, then go see the sheriff and be like, I need a copy of this. The insurance company normally push for those, because that's normally how they make their information if you're talking about a car wreck. And if you're not, if they refuse to close the investigation, but they won't tell you if it's ongoing, and they won't tell you what's going on, it could be that they're working on a bigger investigation that they can't let the cat out of the bag. But that'd be a very rare scenario. That would have to be like a big deal. That would be a very big deal. Like, they would be like, you need to hush and go home and stay out of this. We're still in the middle of something. And they may be trying, sometimes they try to hide mishandling by withholding paperwork until like the last day for insurances to get them, and then insurance doesn't have the time to review them, or the people don't have time to hire an attorney. They try to do stuff like that. Call you. Okay, the insurance company works for you. You call the insurance company and tell them you want a copy of that police report. Tell them you want the officer's statement, and the insurance company works for you, and they will have to get it. And that's why you pay them. But no, that's public record. You should be able to get the officer's report. And that should have been in what we call the discovery that would have been sent to the insurance company to handle the settlement. So I find it very weird that the officer's narrative would not be provided, because normally insurance companies will not make any determination until they see the officer's narrative that was on scene. So that's very strange. There may be something ongoing. They may have a person of interest or something that they're trying to, on the down low, monitor. Was he underage or of age? If he was underage, he was 20, then his next of kin should be able to get that, no questions asked. Because if they're going to be involved in the settling of his estate, they will have to have all the information as well. And it's their information to have. So yeah, you need to go and ask for a copy of the officer's narrative. And then if anything needs to be redacted, the ladies in the circuit court clerk's office will redact it. Or they might say, come back tomorrow because we'll have to read through it. It might take us a moment, but it's your information to have. His next of kin should be able to ask for that and have it in no time. Yeah, you need the officer's narrative. Whoever walked the scene. I mean, it may not be something you want to read. Let me tell you, doing PSIs on murder investigations for the court, just let me tell you, it's not pleasant. It may be something that you don't want to read, and it may be something that if you get, you probably need to pick the best person in the family to absorb that kind of content. It's not enjoyable. We'll just say that, and you might find out things that may hurt worse than you wanted to know them. But if it's bothering you all that much, yeah, that's an investigation, but that's on your family member, and you all had to handle the death, and that should have been sent immediately to the insurance company and also given to the immediate, like, it may have been redacted a little bit, but a copy should have been given to the immediate family as well, especially in a suicide. Now, if it had been a murder or homicide, they may have withheld that until they found who they were looking for. But in a suicide, that just is strange. And go to the circuit court clerk's office and say, I want a copy of this. If they refuse it, call the insurance and say, I know you settled for this, but we're not settling for it. You work for us, and we want a copy of the officer's narrative. We want a copy of the police report. And that insurance company should be able to get it for you, hands down, just with the facts. Well, sadly, they use a lot of things as statistics. Like in this is one thing that irritated me as a parole officer. Okay, so I would see, you put us in drug training every year with, the opiate crisis and opioid crisis and blah, 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 blah. But what they don't tell you is that 98% of people that are put as an opiate death also have 1 to 3 street drugs in their system. Or 98% that are ascribed to an opiate death did not have an active prescription, so it was a street bought drug. So this opioid crisis is actually not a crisis of opioid patients that are actually seeking treatment for pain. It is the people that are reselling and creating a street drug flood of a prescription medication, but the people that are dying also have 1 to 3 illicit street drugs, normally fentanyl, heroin, and meth, also in their systems, but they don't attribute those to the fentanyl, heroin, or meth. They say, they have opiate in their system. They're an opiate death. So when they say the opioid crisis is huge, actually a lot of those, like 98%, according to the statistics I read when I went to all this training, were all street drug or acquired that opiate on a street level, and therefore was not a legally obtained drug. And why they punish people that legally go for pain management and have true medical issues is beyond. It's just control. It's just skew it so that we can make money, and we can punish these, get money here, and we can put these in this category and get money here, and we can charge these and get money here. It's just stupid. It's just stupid power and pimping us out for the almighty penny. It's just all it is. You don't need a court order to get no. You don't need a court order to get any of that information. As next of kin, and whoever was considered next of kin, and whoever handled the arrangements and all that crap, and the insurance was the insurance go-to, that person just needs to say, I need a copy of this police narrative. And I would ask the insurance company to get it. I'd be like, I know that you were satisfied with this. I am not. I need it for my records. And I want you to get it. That's why I pay you. I want it. And then start going to the circuit court clerk, and then go to the sheriff. And it may be that they're trying to cover up something that, they may have screwed up the scene somehow or something. You never know what happened. In that instance, it may be time to get an attorney, but this information should not be kept from you. Okay. And because he wasn't a juvenile, it's not sealed. Even if it was sealed, a juvenile, the parents could get it. So I don't know why they're keeping it from your family, who had to handle the insurance settlement, whoever was the benefactor or the person that had to handle all that and had the power of attorney or whatever, was given the power of attorney by the court to handle all that, they can ask for it and get it. And it should not be denied. And if it is denied, just say you can redact what you need to redact, but I need this information, and stay adamant. And then I would probably start consulting attorneys, because something is not right. Because that is your and the insurance information. I mean, they may be trying to think that they're going to save you from, but what they don't understand is some people are much better to know the truth than to sit there and try to envision the 5,000 ways that may have happened. And some people are better to envision the 5,000 ways than to know the truth. But it's not their job to dictate that. It's, that person should be able to choose which one they want to know. And they shouldn't be withholding that information from your family. It doesn't make sense at all. Yeah, let's reach out, and I'm sure there are some advocacy groups around that you could probably link up with. You might even want to try legal aid. Legal aid might even be able to help you, to step in and help you get the paperwork you need. Because, they might just be trying to hide something and make it a pain in the butt for you, but the people that know the avenues can go in there and get it really quickly. So you might want to try legal aid in your area. Sometimes just a good consultation with an attorney will give you a very enlightening idea of how to handle things. Yeah. Oh, I understand. Yeah, they feel stuck because they don't know what happened. Yeah. Yeah. Your family is probably one that would be better knowing the one thing that happened as opposed to thinking of the 5,000. I'm one of those too. I need to know what happened because I will think of the 5,000, and we don't need that. Like I said, I need to know the truth. Or I need to read what the first person on the scene saw, or else I will envision the absolute top 500 worst things possible. So, yeah. And so I'm just saying, sometimes a consultation with a good attorney, they'll give you an avenue to take that will take care of it really quickly, a free consultation. But legal aid may be a good place for you to look into as well, because that should be easy information, and you should have a copy of all the insurance files, and that should have been a piece of paperwork that the insurance file had in it. And I don't understand why it wasn't in there. So that would lead me to think that they're holding on to something to hide something, or they're thinking another crime might be affiliated. That's the only two things that would make sense to me. But, I'm sure there are 10,000 other options available as well. But legal, like circuit court clerk, legal aid, talk to the sheriff, and then maybe talk to an attorney if the insurance won't help you out. But that would be the way that I would go, the steps I would take. And surely if you start shaking enough trees, they'll drop it, because eventually they're going to know y'all are not going to give up. It's just sad. It's just sad. This whole world is just sad. But y'all, go outside and find 3 things to be happy about. I'm happy that I had cucumbers in my garden today that the deer didn't get to before I got to. I'm glad that it's not storming here today. I'm glad that the sunflower thing I made for my front door, the cat did not eat. I'm glad that Oscar, who had a cold the last 2 days, woke up without gunky eyes this morning, because I thought I was going to have to go get him an antibiotic. He's doing better. See, and if they've had that, there's no reason for you not to have the officer that walked the scene that put the first report in. Doesn't make sense to me. Something's janky there. Something's janky. Yeah. And I just look into legal aid in your area. And tell them that you may have a civil case against the community, against the county, and county or city or whichever department handled it, and ask for a consultation and help. And then if they won't help you, do a consultation with a really good attorney and just say, hey, And if you don't want to take me on as a client, just point me in the right direction. A lot of lawyers will point you in the right direction. Even, they're not always after retainers and fees. Sometimes, they don't want to take on something like that, but they will point you in the right direction so you can handle it. There are some good attorneys out there. Sometimes you need to be a bull. I'm very capable of that too. Always ask questions, and if something doesn't feel right, 9 times out of 10 it isn't, and you should absolutely get your questions answered, because that is what the police is there for. They are to investigate and fulfill the information required to make an assessment upon the scene and a determination for criminal, civil, or legal purposes. And in this realm, it's a legal issue because with the death certificate, and it should go to the insurance, and whoever had power of attorney was handling the family stuff. So I do not know why that was not, because like I said, you get the autopsy report, you get all of that stuff. So that not being in there would concern me as well. Ask somebody. It's definitely a janky, unless they have a really good reason and they're after somebody else that they think is doing something, I would be very upset as well, and I would want to know the truth. So okay, it is 5:50. Oscar's looking at me like, lady, you've been there way too long. I'm sorry, Mr. Oedipo. I'm sorry, Mr. Oedipo. I'm going to let him run around and play for a little while. I was going to do a craft tonight, but now that I've done this, I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to do some hand sewing on a coyote purse and just kind of watch a movie and take it easy. But probably we'll be back tomorrow evening with an evening craft. I think I may try to make that rattle that I've been working on, try to finish it up. And so we'll do something like that. But y'all, be curious. Don't feel bad to be curious. Don't feel bad to ask what you think may be a stupid question, because that stupid question may be enlightening, and you may get 5 different other trails to research by asking a stupid question that you think is stupid. It may open up 5 different other ways for you to look. Try to have 4 or 5 perspectives before you make an opinion, and try to make sure that when you make an opinion, you've had that internal dialogue where you have counterattacked yourself so that you believe what you believe and you will stand up for it. And let's stop eating what they're shoveling in our faces, and let's stop drinking the freaking Kool-Aid, and let's say, hey, you're a gnat on the bull's ass. I'm the bull. You need to answer my questions, okay? I just want to live peacefully. Why is that not happening? America, we got to get this right. The rest of the world's watching. If we go down, the rest of the world goes down with us, because we are the last place where there's any hope left for any nation, any country. We're the last beacon of hope. And if we go down, the world goes down, because it will sink the hearts of men all across this world, men and women all across this world. So just keep trying to move forward. Oh, thank you, Haley. I'm glad you popped on, because I worry about you a lot. I know you are going through a lot, and I think about you often. I know that y'all are busy, but I appreciate when you pop in, and it makes me know you're okay, and I do worry about you. So I'm glad you popped in today. And I hope you get an answer. And you can always email me at watersworkload@gmail.com. And if we need to link up so that you can reach me even quicker, we can do that. Because I'm curious about this now too, just to let you know. Like, we had a homicide in this area not too long ago, and that family knew what happened very quickly. And it was gruesome, grotesque. It was probably one of the worst homicides that I've ever seen in my area. Like, it never happened here. We were all like, what the? And that family knew exactly what happened to the loved one almost immediately. So this would bother me as well. So I hope that you all get the information you're looking for, and you will figure out why they've been withholding it, because that's just weird. It's just very weird. Okay, I'm thankful for each and every one of you. I'm going to shut up now. My dog's got to pee. I'm going to go and do more research, investigation, and listening to people that I don't know if they're smart or not, but they challenge me, so that makes me smarter. So I'm going to go watch a lot of people that I go, huh? So that I can put more wrinkles in my brain, because I want to figure out why they made me go, huh? And I challenge all of you to do the same. And y'all, pay attention. Because I feel like we're on the Titanic and nobody's looking for icebergs. Scares me a little bit. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow night for craft night and less theological and rhetorical questions that we all know the answers to, and I don't even have to ask. But we'll have fun tomorrow night. Love you. Bye.